Hello, everyone. Corrie here, coming in to do the energy or the forecast reading for 2025 for Sagittarius. Now, I'm a little bit late getting to Sagittarius. There was a bit of a hold, and it was life. But we're here, and I will do a little bit of a recap. And so we lived January and February was a whole year. So whatever happened in January and February, and from December, January, and February you lived a whole year. So congratulations, you've made it right here because it has been absolutely crazy. There's been a lot of crazy energies and a lot of crazy things that's been taking place and happening in that energy. And you would be influenced by it. You would be feeling the effects of it. And you may have had a lot of unexpected and unplanned detours or changes in your life in that little period of time, and there's more to come. We're not done yet, but it is really truly about bringing the past and the now together to really start to incorporate mixing things together to get into the future, right? And so this journey that you're taking and the way that we're moving through is, okay, I'm going to take all that I've learned from the past, and I'm going to take everything that I'm knowing now, that I'm learning now, and I'm going to blend in a little bit of unknown possibility. And I'm just going to just start creating from there. And that life is creating more from what I have known. So at the end of repeating some old patterns or some old things that have happened. And so part of the Sagittarius was, oh, I don't want to hear the bad stuff. I want all the good stuff in my reading. And so that energy was like, oh, I don't want to hear anything when everything is happening in January or February. I don't want to know. And so now as we move forward is, yeah, there is still a lot. There's still things that are unfolding. It is going to be a year of kind of reckoning. It is where the kind of volcano energy is erupting and the lava is now letting go. And so it's like Mother Nature. Nothing can stop the volcano when it's ready to explode and when it's ready to erupt. And then all the lava comes up and out. But all the lava that comes up and out, it forms over. It is hot. It forms over everything that's already there. And this is why we should never build next to a volcano. It should just be a known. And so, but it forms over everything. But then with time, life grows up and through it again. It creates something new. It creates a new world, a new life, and new energy, new possibilities. And so there is that kind of energy that is playing out with the Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is known to be a bit more of that spiritual enlightened beings, the spiritual enlightened self, but that's not for everyone, just saying. And it's like, if you're here, then you're here because you are one of those spiritual beings and you're interested in the spiritual aspect of it. For some reason, I feel like some of you are going to meet the total opposite Sagittarius this year. And whether you meet it in someone else or you meet it in yourself, you meet that version of yourself that sees kind of who you were in the past, or you're being challenged to really question your beliefs or question your why to why you're doing what you're doing. Or really, it's like, for example, I'll just use where I was. So I remember when I was creating More Than Existing, and it was a lot of deep dive journey. And through the deep dive journey, the big thing that came up about, I don't know, when I was creating, say, level 4, I believe it was. And so in that journey, when you start to question everything, was I started to question whether or not I believed in God. I believed in the spirits. I believed in angels. Was I really making this up in my head? Was this in my imagination? Was this just my ability to escape? Was I just escaping reality? And did I need to just give it all up and just go back to living, asleep, go back into the real world and be real and be real in the real world that is called the real world, and live there, and could I be happy there? And maybe this was all bullshit. And the more that I started to question that in myself, the stronger my faith became. And the stronger my knowing became, and the stronger that I found myself fighting back and in a way of just saying, no, I know this to be true. There is not a doubt in my mind, and evidence would keep revealing itself to me. Everything, and I wasn't testing fate, and I wasn't testing God, and I wasn't asking, it's just whether or not it was me, that it was, whether or not it was really real for me, and it really believed in that. And if it was real, or maybe it's not real. But in that, what I learned was that I had nothing to fight, nothing to prove to anyone else, and that it would be totally okay to have the world think I was crazy. And that there was always going to be people who were not going to believe, but I could not deny what I have seen, what I have witnessed, what I have experienced, and how I have experienced it. And that it became kind of my fight song. That's what it is. It became my fight song. So I really feel like this year for Sagittarius is that you're really here this year to really find your fight song and what it is. And fight song doesn't mean you have to get angry, but you are awakening that warrior within. And that warrior within doesn't always align to the Sagittarius trying to be the friendly, loved by everyone kind of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is our nice one of the fire signs, like of all of the Leo, of the Aries, of it's, and I don't mean like any better or any kinder or more generous, but it is this sense of they're there to kind of make people feel comfortable. And so it's really hard sometimes to recognize that you are also the volcano and there is an eruption, or that the world is erupting around us, and that I don't always have to be happy. I don't always have to be positive, that I can question this, and I can get angry, and I can be upset, and I can be hurt, and life is going to hurt me, and life is going to reveal self. And so it is a bit of the ego of the death ego also coming in for Sagittarius, but also the recognizing that in order for a volcano to erupt, the fire has to be burning. So we are responsible. So as a Sagittarius, being the fire sign is that your fire is involved in that eruption, that you play your role, you played your part in that somehow. And so that eruption is somehow just saying to us, like the fire that's happening is just saying, oh, I had to walk this path. I have to go this journey. I have to see this part of myself, because if I've been denying that I'm possibly not good, or I'm possibly not doing all the things that are right. It's like we can't just look out into the world and see the world as being a problem and not seeing self as being that self can have its own ugly side, or can have all of this. So this year is going to be I feel like we're spinning. So this year you're going to really feel the spin. You're going to see, feel, sense all sides of things. You're going to be a part of the world and really truly being a part of living the experiences. So it's going to be a lot of lived experiences for Sagittarius this year, and really living in the experience and bearing witness to those experiences. And they're not all your experiences, is that you may be a part of other people's experiences. And there was definitely, like I said, I definitely seen some of that death energy coming in and death energy around. And Sagittarius not connected to the death card per se, but the death card is our way to peace. And it is when we make peace. So when we make peace with the fact that we're not perfect, and we're not just the good girl or the good boy, that we're something else and we're something other, and that we're not just always, love and light, and we're not always this, is then we start to see that we are simply human. And that was my journey with questioning was, what do you mean? In More Than Existing, the whole end story was really recognizing I'm here to be the best human I can be. I thought it was going to be something bigger. But there's nothing any bigger and nothing any more valuable and important as recognizing that your spirit, your soul came here for the human experience. And if we don't provide the human experience, and we hide and you mushroom and you avoid and you neglect seeing things, or you divert, or you try to live in all love and light and not live in the world, is that you're not existing. And right. And so it is about the journey of existing. You are definitely on a more than existing journey this year, and finding self through all of that, which includes sometimes accepting that we all have these qualities about ourselves and a part of the identity that even yours that comes all the way from your soul, that you are that connected to your soul, that you are a part of that soul. Now, I didn't bring up, and I'm trying to bring this up on my phone so I can see this. And I'll share this in the slides of your other videos, so you will see this. So I did pull a card originally, and that card was from my Want to Know a Secret to a Life of More Than Existing, which is from this box. And you'll see the card. I don't want to dig out the card, but the card, this is what the card said. It's card 19, and it says, attain freedom and liberty by moving past anger and fear. Not everyone is out to get you. Have you ever heard of entrapment stories? Sometimes those walls may be so high, they are keeping you from experiencing a beautiful life. True peace comes when we're willing to shed the notion that not everyone with similarities is a reflection of our past relationships and experiences. Instead, why not acknowledge that not everyone has harmful intentions so that you can release the anger and the fear? So 2024, you grew a lot, and this will be rewarded in 2025. And so even though it might sound like the conversation we're having is not the reward, or it's like, why is there more happening? Is no, that's your soul's choice and your agreement to begin to feel alive and to be alive and to step into experiencing life. You agreed somehow before you arrived that at this point in the game, you would be available to experience life, and that you would learn through those experiences on what it's like to be a support, to be supported, and to be surrounded by love. And so it is where all those veils of illusions are beginning to fall. And so 2025, the veils of illusions keep falling away, but that's sometimes the only way to being free of the stories of the mind. Optimism is your friend, but you can't create that on your own. Magic is invisible, and faith and grace finds you in 2025. And that is this, I wrote in December, I think it was December, when this was the beginning of where this message. And so your message has been incubating for this long until it's finally ready to come out. That's grace. And it's that knowing that I had to trust the process of where your message would be. Now, one of the cards that is most connected to you, very connected to you, one of those cards is the Temperance card. And the Temperance card, you notice she has one foot in the water. She's testing the water. She got one foot on the shore on a rock. She's stable, but she's leaning in. And so she is leaning into life. And back here, you can see there is I never noticed this. There is a volcano. There's a path here. So this is going and this is erupting, but she's over here. And behind her, so there's a guardian. She is the angel. It's the angel that is coming in. It's the virtuous self. It's the virtue of temperance. So the spirit of temperance. And the spirit of temperance is mixing a little bit of this and a little bit of that to get this knowing that I can take a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and I can create something. And something is in creation. And then we have these beautiful daylilies that are just beginning to bloom. But over here, we also have a path. And so we can keep walking in and to the volcano, or we can stay over here to where we know there is safety. And so but she's in the vicinity of the volcano. She knows it's here, and that's life. We can get so far away and not go anywhere near life that that you're not experiencing life and you're escaping that life, or that she can know that she just needs water to put out the fire sometimes, that she needs that balance, and that fire and water and the divinity can all work together. And there is this divine expression. And then there's hope. And that hope is growing, and new life is growing, and things are green and growing and around. And so all of the elements and a little bit of this and a little bit of that brings about something new. We don't have to be so headstrong and so set in our ways. And so we can be a little bit logical, and we can be a little bit mystical. You can have a little bit of of being very practical and being magical. It's like, it's not set in stone on who and what you should be. It is about just blending that self together and letting ourselves blend our world together. And now, and so there is also, so if she's in that reverse, there is turbulent times, there's turbulent energies. And so you do still have some turbulent energies. I'm feeling some of those turbulent energies. I'm getting some of those. You're not it's not kind of like an out of the woods story as of yet. And so Grace would have me know that the one thing that we need to do is to surrender to the experiences. And the experiences can't be changed because they're not in our faith. They're not the things that we have that are happening to us, is what we're a part of sometimes. And that the surrendering in is where we find grace. And then that sense of hope and faith that no matter what's happening, I'm moving in the right direction. No matter what's taking place, I'm moving in the right direction. And so there is this movement that is coming in that we're seeing. Now, the other one that ties in here is the Page of Wands. So I feel like this is the year, and I'm going to bring in the Page of Wands as well here. It's like, and so this is the year of where you start to, take the journey, walk the journey, and, eventually seeing there's a little feather, you got one little feather in your hat, and you see new life is beginning, but yet we're in a desert. So with time, the journey through the Temperance card and the journey through this year, you are such the Temperance card this year. And then you're also this. So this is the spiritual aspect. This is the human aspect. This is the major life experiences that are happening that are influencing the human that you are. And so as this is happening, the Temperance card really represents that essence. The other aspect is that with time, through life and through the experiences, is that the Sagittarius becomes the enlightened within themselves in whatever experience. It's not that you become some big enlightened being, but you become enlightened in a certain area of life. It's like we don't get no diplomas and no degrees in life. It's not a validation on the wall. It's a validation within us. It's a knowing within ourselves that we have graduated, that you have met a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of knowing within yourself, that you understand, that then has the ability to help your human to find their way. And so blending all of this energy together is it's like humble pie. So there is a humbling that is also in this year and in this experience, which that when you return to this place of grace and hope and faith within yourself, is that you've kind of lost the ego, is that sense of, and not that all of the ego dies, you need your ego for motivation, but it's that unhealthy aspects within ourselves, that which we are chasing, that's which we feel we've been denied, right? You feel like you've been denied of something, and I got to chase something because I was robbed of this and I was denied of this. And it's like, no, you've robbed and denied yourself of the experience to feel life, to be a part of life sometimes, or that you didn't see what you needed to see in each and every one of those experiences. So life is going to really give you some moments where you're going to see that enlightenment transpire within your life. And so this Knight of Wands, it does also speak of some dangers that could be coming up. And so, no, sorry, this is the page, the page. And so the page is telling us that, I'm like a little kid. I'm a newbie to this. And because I'm a newbie to this, I want to experience this. I want to know this. And so there is this beginning journey of where this sense of, we almost feel like we are bearing witness to the obvious of the emotional, spiritual, physical immaturities within that self that are now finally turning into the adult. And so there's some real serious like adulting, and not that you're not an adult, but we have these blocks. So where trauma shut us down, where you shut down in trauma, in another experience, another life, now that is finally being resolved. And it's kind of like a sense of, I can do this. And then there's the spirit that goes, yes, you can, but you can't do this without this. You need guidance. You need help. You need us. I feel like I got a puppet show going, but it's like the divine spirit is just saying to you, you need more than you to walk this journey. And the moment that you incorporate allowing yourself to be supported, to be surrounded by love, the more that this is going to be a year of where you really get to see the rewards. You get to see that fruits of the labor. You get to see that new beginning. You get to see something beautiful unfold. And I am keep looking at your little message on your card 19, which I will share with you. Now, you do have this, you are the mutable fire and you are the explorer. So yeah, you are here to explore and not to be afraid to explore. But there is a development that is happening. And so that development that's hiding is that this which is wrapped around will eventually be the cloak. So you get to be the hero, the heroine of your own journey this year and your own destiny, but recognizing you can't be the hero to other people's stories because they have to be the hero for themselves. Knowing where and when you can step in, knowing when and where to show up. So the archetype, one of the archetypes is the explorer, and being that explorer. And then you have the Archangel Zedekiel. And I'm going to say this is also Archangel Zedekiel coming up. And Archangel Zedekiel is the grace of God. And Archangel Zedekiel really works with that sense of bringing us down and connecting us back. And also, but recognizing that we are of something bigger and we're of something more. And we find that within this journey of this year. And so level 3 of More Than Existing is a lot about what we call the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is that deep inner journey that we take within ourselves to find what we believe to be missing. And we finding out that nothing is really missing. And the mutable signs, when you see that mutable, you're here to be that cheerleader, right? You're here to be, and also be a leader, right? It's like this develops when this and this can come together, is that who you are leading is often those who have a an emotional block or emotional immaturity somewhere where they are still very kind of childlike and you recognize the sensitivity in wanting to not to squish that in somebody, but also want to inspire some sort of growth. And so that includes yourself, and that includes all other versions of you. So for some of you, you're really going to make a strong connection to children this year. And you're going to make a strong connection to working with children, to include children, to maybe this is the year that if you're young, this is where you're going to, where if you're still looking at building a family, of where you're finally going to step in and decide, I want to have children. I want to start a family. And you're going to begin that family journey, that family dynamic. If you're grandparents and becoming grandparents, is going to be, I really want to spend more time with my kids and my grandkids. I want to be a part of that world. I want to be a part. If you're someone who's going into working, you're just like, I want to be involved in either the emotional immaturity, or I want to be with children. I want to help children. I want to help teenagers. I want to help those people. But this is also helping those levels of you of the past to finally be able to grow up. And the wisdom that you're going to gain from that, the knowing you're going to gain from that is massive. It's huge. And I don't know why I keep seeing a football player. And I don't know if someone here that's watching either has a child in football, or if it's a pastime, or it's something that you just watch, but I keep seeing football. And so when I think of football, I think of touchdown, right? It's like it's hard. It looks so simple because you've got these lines and you got to reach the spot, but you have to remember to get to that place of the touchdown, you got to go through all of those other players, and those players are there to hurdle you down. And not that they're there to hurt you, but they're playing a game, right? And there's like, those hurdles will keep trying to take you down, but your focus is on getting that touchdown. And so you keep trudging through and just finding the openings. So you're weaving your way through and finding that way through and into that place of where you make that touchdown in your own life. And when you do, it is going to really open up something. So like I said, all the veils of illusions, it's like, okay, yeah, I can get to that touchdown. Then you're going to be like, yeah, no, I can't underestimate all of these other players. They're equally as good as I am. And because they're equally as good as I am, there is a good chance that they're going to tackle, right? And that is where, and so that's an example of how the veils of illusions begin to fall, is that we don't think that the world can't survive without us. Put your hand in a bucket and take it out. Is there a hole? No. But you realize that you're here for your experiences. You're here for your life. And that, yes, you can be a willing participant. You can be a part of life, and life has beautiful, great things for us, but we're not the end all for everyone else. So that takes a lot of stress off. And it's about then living life to its fullest, being able to embrace, dinner parties, be able to embrace get-togethers, being able to embrace spiritual gatherings, whatever that is for you, that's where it is. And so for some of you, I see new wheels. And if you've already bought the new wheels, then yay. But I'm like steering wheel. You need a vehicle. And you are sometimes a vehicle, but you need a vehicle. You need a vehicle. You need a vehicle to get by and to get through. And for some of you, you're going to be purchasing that new vehicle. And no matter what the world is telling us, you can't listen to what the world is because there's a lot of half-hearted truth and a lot of fear stories. And it's not all true. Media, news, it's not all true. No matter, you can't live by whether or not CBC is telling you the truth, because they're only telling you their truth, right? You can't live by if NBC or Fox or whatever they are, they're telling you their truth. They're telling you what they're told to say. And so we have that egoic self that keeps telling us sometimes what we need to say. And when you can bypass that and you get to listening to that higher self, you find out, oh, and we are very much in eclipse seasons right now. We have the Venus in Aries, back and forth between Pisces, and we have this retrograde with it. And so there is this energy, and it just says to us, like, where were you in 2017? What was happening in 2017? What was taking place in 2017? And what is this cycle that you're in right now, that where we are? And it is about to kind of clear up and kind of take the destiny from where that 2017 began a journey for us. And so the universe of love and light is Lumerian, and Lumerian is that of the world of love. But what Lumerian knew the most, what the Lumerian people did, was they wanted all the world, they wanted all of their world, their land, to be all just love and to be all peace. But if we don't know darkness, how do we know light? If we don't know fear, how do we know faith? So we have to have duality, and our world is filled with duality. This is about balance, and this is about, knowing the world is filled with duality, that we can also be filled with love. We can be filled with love. And so this card and the Temperance card have a lot of similarity because she's blending in, right? Blending in the divine expression, the human self, the essence of all aspects, the Trinity of the self, to bring about the missing ingredient is love. No matter what we do it for the right reasons. We do it with love. And if you do it with love, your life begins to transform. So beautiful transformation. This is a massive year of transformation and growth and development that is unfolding. It is to be embodied. It is to be nurtured. And there's a lot of mother energy that's coming in. And then the crone energy is going to guide you through. Now, I do pick up some health concerns and health issues. Be aware of like throat issues. Be aware of, not be aware, just in this energy, we have the awareness of throat issues. Could be thyroid. It could be throat. It could be strep throat. It could be digestion. It could be right here. It could also be some teeth issues, jaw, and I was going to say hearing, but I don't know if I really pick up the hearing so much, but I'm picking up here that are coming up. And this could be like, this is our ability to communicate. This is our ability to listen. So communication, listen. And so it can also be next issues here that may also be arising or coming up, and feeling those and having to deal with those things or getting those things checked out. I do see, like I said, there's a lot of children energy around. So possibility of, if you're in that birthing stage, it can also be when you make a big move. And the big moves feel like they could be fall. It could be closer to the end of the year. For some of you, it could be earlier. It could be building a new home, but there is some big moves and some big changes. And it's where kind of, I just see things being cleared out. So for some of you, you may have to witness the changes in other people's lives and helping someone clean up or clean out their house and get moved. And that could be like a senior parent that has to, make a change into like another place in their lives. Like they have to go from independent living to be needing more care, and you having to be a part of that. Like that's coming up as well. I'm also getting this connection into a lot of like sunshine. So you need a lot of sunshine this year. It could be where you decide you're going to take that big dream vacation, go on that holiday, start planning for that holiday. But sunshine is an absolute must for Sagittarius for this year. You need it wherever you can find it, wherever you can get it, grab onto it, connect to it. I'm also getting the sense of kind of building. So building blocks. I keep seeing building blocks. So restructuring and rebuilding. And that could be, some relationships that were very weak or had fallen apart, or that now kind of being restored. So restoring some unhealthy some relationships that turned really bad or really ugly or got really not in a good place, and navigating through that again and making that connection again, and just being able to open up your hearts, or other people open up their hearts. And so it's somebody who's been in your life and you're like, there's no way that relationship's not going to be rebonded, restructured, but you're not the same people who was in those relationships before. So it is the opportunity to build a relationship that is new from who you once were, and to bring that connection back together. And there's a reason why. There is just some reason why that will be happening. And so the world's in your hands. It's like having to step up. So it's going to be a year of really stepping up and out of the emotions, stepping up and just allowing the universe to guide you, to be supported. But your destiny is kind of in your hands, and it's what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it this year. What you put in is what you're going to get out of it. So it requires effort. It requires intention, like being very intentional. And are my intentions pure? And having those pure intentions versus those little chatters of the ego's intentions, and bringing in that pure intention. And it's where we're forever yearning and question, what am I forever yearning about? What is it that I'm always seeking? And so the moon cycle is going to play a big role for you this year as well. But it is awakening up into this aqua, which means we're connecting into the higher energy centers, making the connection to our spirit, to our soul, and feeling the love, feeling the light, feeling that support, and no longer just yearning for something, but remembering you already have that which you seek. That which you seek is already within you. And there is this love. And for my singles, like, you might just find the love of your life. You might just find that person, but it has to be the person that aligns to the soul and not to the shadow, right? Because you don't want any more of being the fixer, the pleaser for anyone else. It is time for you to move into action and into redirecting life and find your way through into this new beginning in your life. Some of you are going to find out things that you just didn't really want to know. I didn't really want to know that, but by finding it out, by getting to know it, then it cleans the air. So cleans the air and clears your heart. And so dirty laundry may find its way out, but it's so that it can be clean, cleared, and resolved. You may find yourself being this little bit anxious and always like sleeping with, on guard. And so that fear of the enemies or the fear of the world. And so knowing that you're safe. And so there is this sense of, I know I'm safe. I know I'm protected. These swords are in a painting and they're not being driven into me. So the 3 of Swords would show through the heart, right? And that means there's like an interference or there's something interfering, but there's not. There is the new beginnings. And so we have the Wands, which moves us into that new beginning. And so there is a new opportunity, new beginning. The volcano is settling back down, and it feels like by the time we move into summer, by the time we move into fall, and there's all this new growth. And so leaves are falling because this is the abundance. There's not enough. We're still a newbie. It can only hold so much. And so this feels like there's more than enough, and there's going to be more than enough of the beautiful things, more than enough of the good things. And so money problems, money issues, don't worry. Things are working out, and things, and you may just not be used to being in a vulnerable state of being, but that is where we that's where we cultivate faith. That's where we cultivate the hope. And so just knowing that things are, it's the way to more than enough and more of the beautiful things that life has for you. I send you so much love. Have a beautiful year, and I will see you again in my courses, in my classes, or for 2026. You can always follow on YouTube and get all the monthlies throughout the year as well. Much love.